Hello and welcome to the Friday stream, where we try to teach you all sorts of fantastic educational things, such as how to play this game in maybe a little different way, a little better way. To answer your question on getting Plat, generally a good rule of thumb for getting from gold to Plat is trying to figure out what exactly your opponent is doing and what you're doing. Because generally speaking, like, no offense to gold, but there's a level of like, in my head, I know I need to do X, Y, Z. In my head, I know I need to do side light and nair and recovery. Every single time you'll see golds do that same string regardless. And if you change up your follow-ups, change up how you're avoiding those things, or just recognize that they're basically only going for that as their startup, then you'll have better options and better knowledge of what you need to do against it.
But as far as getting approaches in, you know, doing dashes and dash jumps are your friend. Like, the two of them together are very fast options, and so if you mix up whether you're coming in from ground or from the air, a lot of times your opponent will struggle to really be able to figure out what to do against that. And then, of course, weapon throws are really good for hitting someone who's trying to stall out the game. And then sending them off stage, you can really get some very aggressive edge guards if they like to jump up and panic as soon as they get sent off. So try to take advantage of that.
What's the best way to learn the scythe? In training mode, in ranked, or something else? Highly suggest training mode. Start with training mode. Start with what you... Just start with the kit itself, figuring out what the moves do. Scythe is unique in that you have the active input on all of the attacks, so you can kind of play around with that, see how the active inputs put the opponent, put that training bot, and then see what your follow-up options are. So that would be my suggestion, is start with training mode, and then once you're comfortable with it, bring it into PvP. Approach options with Lance. So if you want to go old school, there's a lot of aerial approaches. Aerial is very the Lance aerial kit is very horizontal, and they tend to be kind of safe because it has so much character movement in it. Sometimes you'll move out of the way of where your opponent wants to hit you. Personally, the way I like to approach with Lance, lots of dash jump nairs. Because it has that circle hitbox, I try to either hit them low with it, or I go in with side light. Side light is still very strong. It's a good tool in general. Neutral light and down light tend to be more protective tools, whereas the side light is a good startup. It's your main combo starter with Lance, so that's kind of what I generally suggest.
Let's see. You're playing Artemis. Do you remember what the exact Artemis changes were?
It's the speed on the down stick.
The down stick. Ooh,
Yeah,
that's
that goes so fast now. It's
lovely.
awesome.
So that down stick actually great for edge guarding. I've found when at least fighting against him. I'm not a big Artemis player, but whenever I fight against an Artemis, as soon as I'm off stage, those down sticks come out, and they really catch you if you're trying to get back on stage.
It's great in the neutral now. Ooh, where are you going?
I guess maybe linear is not the right word, but the way that I've always tried to think about it is it's a very simple dynamic of here's me, here's my opponent, and I just need to do the right moves to beat them. And if I don't, I'm going to lose. And so as soon as that breaks and I do end up losing, instead of thinking, oh man, it's someone's fault, it's not really a fault. It's less of a statement of fact of saying, oh, I wasn't using the right moves. Maybe I can go back and see what moves I was missing. Maybe I can, change up my playstyle or change up my weapon. But going to the next game, thinking, this time I just need to use the right move. Instead of saying, oh, that was my fault, I'm doing terrible, and I'm totally worthless, or anything like that, right? It's all about having the right mentality. Universal issue, so if you're trying to get past that, don't feel too bad, but there's always that sort of inner peace that you can reach when you get to that point, and instead of saying like, oh man, I'm one more game, I really need to get this, and getting a little bit too worked up, you just gotta calm yourself and think of it as just another game.
And also, don't be afraid to like take the little victories, man. Like, be happy that you made 1860 or whatever it was, and like, don't be upset that you couldn't get 1900. Just be happy that you're growing as a player and happy that you're getting better.